Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, May the 7th. Happy Wednesday, happy Fed Day, happy Hump Day. Crazy day today in the market. If you were watching or trading, I've got the ES up here as well as the NASDAQ. That's the RUD. I've got the ticks up here, got everything up here, right? This in the black area here was the cash session today. This is the overnight session. And let me pull this down and we'll dive right in. I want to look at the ES and we'll talk about the Fed and what happened and all that. But last night, again, the light gray is the overnight session. And I was watching and we get this huge move after hours. This was yesterday's session. Down, 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 down. We took out our skyline here. Down, 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 down. And I'm like, what's going on here? Boom. I mean, that was a 80-point move, like vertically straight up, about 80 points. Crazy, crazy move. And then we kind of fizzle back out, all night long. Then this morning, opening bell, kind of off to the races, and then free fall. We come back down and just touch our skyline there. These are voodoo skylines, which are based on some fib levels. It's some Elliott wave levels in there. They work very well. You can see this one right here actually held last night or yesterday's session as well. But we bounced back up high on the day, came back down. In this case, now this was when the Fed released the outcome of the Fed meeting, which was to leave rates unchanged. Free fall down here. Now also, let me zoom in a little bit. Also during the same time, I didn't see this, but I talked with a lot of traders during the day, and some of them were saying that Trump had announced that he's not going to back off the tariffs with China, the kind of thing, and I think that was this. Then Powell, we started regaining, and then Powell started speaking. We came back down, and then we came back up, and then we came back down, and then we got this wild run into the end of the day, and then we came back down. So crazy, 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 crazy day, and we ended up only up about 25 points after all of these pretty wild swings. So from the top to the bottom, I mean, you're talking about a 70-point move. Again, last night we had like an 80-point move. Big, wild, volatile swings going on here. If you're trading this, this has been a little nerve-wracking, right? Ever since the first of the year. We'll talk about that in a minute, but first, let's talk about Powell. So, he is the boss, Fed boss, and he basically said that we were hoping that, we might get a wild hair. I thought we might get a rate cut, but at least maybe some talk of rate cut. And he said, no, that's not even, we're not talking about rate cuts right now. We're not to that point yet. We got to see more data, all that kind of stuff. Tariffs have too much uncertainty, on and on and on. So this is kind of keeping with, the way he's been with the Fed. And I don't blame him. I guess I think he's kind of going he's a little slow, but he was slow to raise rates, and now I think he's going to be a little slow to cut rates. But he wants to see more data come out. Of course, we've got all this uncertainty about tariffs and all that kind of stuff. So again, I don't blame him. He's in a very tough position too. Are we going into a recession? Are we not? What's going to happen with tariffs? All that kind of stuff. So this is the Fed Watch tool. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but this is for today, for the Fed meeting for today. There was a 95% chance of no rate cut. As you can see, the current rate is 425. What are the chances of it being at 425? 95%. There's a 5% chance of a rate cut. Didn't happen. I didn't think it would, but the Fed can always surprise us, and they don't actually have to wait to a meeting to have to do a rate cut, right? So if we, so what I'm thinking is that obviously we're going to get some rate cuts later in the year. I think those are silver bullets that Powell's trying to hold onto as long as he can. And again, I probably would do the same thing if it was me. But look at this. Let's go to the June meeting. We have Fed meeting in June. This current target's 425. That's 425. So there is a 57% chance that we will get a 57.5% chance we'll get a rate cut. I'm sorry, that's at the July meeting. At the July meeting, we skipped over the June because the May dropped off. Okay, so June, June comes before July, right? So current's 425. There's 425. There's a 76% chance of no rate cut for the June meeting. I think that might change. This can always go up and this can always, come down, that kind of thing. But right now it's at 76%. We'll have a lot more data coming in, before this, but that's the June meeting. July meeting, now we're talking 56% chance of a rate cut from 425 to 400 basis points, 56%. If we go out further, there's no August meeting, but the September meeting, now it's 425, 25 basis points, 50 basis points. There's a 50-50 chance of having 2 rate cuts by September. I think that's in line, and we may get more, actually. We go out further than this, of course. Now you're starting to get way down here. This data is less reliable, of course. It's so far out in time, and everything can change, right? But if we look at always look at your economic calendar. So this was Fed today. Last Friday we had payrolls on the 2nd. Next week on the 13th, on Tuesday, we have CPI, right? And then let's see here. When is our next? Okay, so we got CPI on the 13th. We've got PPI. I thought it was on the 14th. I have to double check because it's not. It's on the 15th. And then on May the 30th, we've got PCE. That's the biggest one for the Fed, is PCE, personal consumption expenditures. So there's a lot of data coming up between now and the June meeting. Again, a lot can change there. And then, of course, we have all that again, payrolls, all that kind of stuff again before the July meeting as well. So keep all that in mind on as you're watching. Watch the economic calendar and so forth to see what's coming up. Now, as far as the market goes, how do we trade this kind of market? This is just super volatile. I've heard a lot of people saying this is, some of the toughest markets they've ever traded. It is a very tough market to trade. I've been trading professionally for 35 years, over 35 years. And this is tough. I mean, yeah, we had COVID, we had the housing, you had the dot-coms, all that kind of stuff, flash crash, all that stuff. This is more nerve-wracking because I would say the top to bottom, max drawdown and back is in a shorter period of time. COVID was kind of like that, straight up, straight down. But most of the time, it takes a little while to get down the bottom and it takes a little while to get back up to the top. This has been pretty fast, and we're not back up to the top. In fact, if you look at this, that's the 200-day moving average. We're still struggling to even get to the 200-day moving average there. This is on the ES or the S&P 500. And if we look here let's go to the NASDAQ, same thing. We got to the 200 here and got rejected. Not good. Got rejected there. Not good. That's not bullish sign, right? The diamonds, the Dow, we're not even close to it yet. That yellow line is a 50-day moving average. This is a 20-day moving average. I should do a video on the moving averages and how you can use them to trade. I'll try to link that to this if I can, and I will do one for you guys. Lastly, we have the IWM again, the Russell 2000. Not even close. There's a 200 right there. So what does that mean? It does not mean run to the hills at all, because normally I would say this is not looking good for the bulls, but we have to know that Trump can come out anytime and say, guess what, guys, we got to deal with China. Tariffs are over and we can get back to business now. Boom, and we're up here. So be careful shorting this market. I do think we come back down at some point, and that could be from lack of tariff news. We get to the end of that 90-day period, or Fed keeps kicking the can down the road. Many reasons. Inflation's gets hotter. There's a lot of things that can happen there. So the divergence here is greater than it's been in a long time of a large move down or a large move up. One last thing, let me put these on my grab candles. So if you see this fall right here, this is a Darvis box. We come back up into a 34 EMA and come back down to that level, bounce again and take it out. It would make sense if we come back down here, we could potentially take that level out and go even lower. I'm not prepared for that. I don't have any, mentally I'm fully prepared for it, but I don't have any trades down there because, again, the likelihood, I'm a math guy, the likelihood is better for good news on the tariff front and we go higher, but be careful looking out into the future. Even if we get a big move up here, it could still fade and come back down, so be careful with that. And there's the only way we can trade that is just we take it day by day and week by week and month by month, and we look at the charts and we read the data and we see what is likely to happen. So very hard to make a prediction here. We're not in a trending market. We're not trending up or down. We're just chopping wildly, so that makes it really, really tough. So what that means is size small, use stops, protect yourself, only use what you can lose in the way of trades. Now I am using some covered calls and things like that are really actually working in this market. Again, that's a whole nother topic I'd be glad to help you guys with if you need help. So with that, again, size small, keep your risk very tight, manage your risk, keep an eye on things. Don't just blindly say, oh, Amazon's pullback, I'm going to buy some. Nvidia's pullback, I'm going to buy some. Yeah, maybe, but you got to look at all the other factors that are going on with this overall market. So if you need help, want help, have questions, let me know. I am Bruce Marshall at Simpler Trading. I'll be glad to help you. We have great trading rooms. I've got my own trading room. It's called Bias, and I can certainly help you in there. Come see us. We got a lot of great traders in there, a lot of good resources for you to help. So let us know how we can help. So thanks for the time, guys. I appreciate it. I will see you at the next update. Thanks. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me